Alright. So, after a lot of bullshit, we finally figured out how to do this. So, we are, excuse me, we are reading Game On by Nevessa Allen. And she has wrote 3 books like this. It is a slow burn, dark romance novel. And it's pretty interesting. I read the first chapter. I might stumble. I might say some stuff wrong. I will let you guys know right now, the cuss words will be censored. I will bleep them out when I edit the video. And for the female parts, because I can't say that on YouTube, of course, it would be kitty and kitten. And then for the male part, it would be sausage. So you're probably going to hear a lot of that later on. Anyways, we are going to read the first chapter. And we have a guest live listening to the book with me. Say hi.
Hi.
There she is. And we're going to read the first chapter. So get cozy, get yourself something to eat, get something to drink, and buckle up because we're going to read the first chapter for this. Game On. Okay? So, chapter 1, Tyler. $1 million, that's what I could make tonight if the party keeps up like this. I still can't believe I pulled it off. Weeks of planning, tens of thousands in costs, and untold laws broken. All to host a private, high-stakes gambling night on board an abandoned freight ship that sat decaying in the old port. It was the absolute last place anyone would think to look for an ultra-exclusive party for the city's elite, which is why it was perfect. A raucous cheer erupted from the crowd. Everyone wore masks to protect their shit. Anonymity. I said that wrong. Including the staff, but as master of the ceremonies, I knew who they were. I turned to see a blonde woman in a scarlet ball gown jump in celebration. She must she must have hit it big, which was good for both me and her. As the bookie hosting the little soiree, my take home was 10% of all the winnings. And while yes, $1 million might seem like a lot of cash after all the bribes and payouts, I'd be lucky to net a third of it, most of which would get inversed into next game night. But it was worth it. The real money was in interest anyway. If any of the players ran out of funds, we, the house, helpfully supplied them with the means to keep playing, for a fee, of course. It was small enough to be appealing, fisherman's hook to ensnare the unsuspecting. Only after people took the bait did they realize how much that fee stacked up if they didn't pay us back on time. My gaze swept over the rest of the room, a carnivorous chamber that was formerly a cargo bay, now over 24 tables filled the space, some draped in white linens holding platters of gourmet dishes, others surrounded by gamblers in designer dresses and suits. A bar was set up along the far wall. Waitstaff made their way to and from it, delivering top-shelf cocktails to the crowd. Soft light filtered down from chandeliers, glistening off jewels and champagne flutes in a way that lit a dreamlike quality to the scene. I signed, thinking of the war of one-man upmanship. I was fighting with myself. Tonight was triumph, a party to end all parties, but next time I have to come up with something even better, even more unsuspecting and exciting. My parties had to remain the most exclusive and sought out after entertainment in the city. The wealthy, I've learned, were a lot like spoiled children, easily distracted by the latest shiny object, and it took a lot of time to keep them clamoring for a spot at my tables. And to think all this started in my dorm room. I'd been a broke-ass double major in finance and business, looking to make some tuition money on the side so I wouldn't have to drop out. I was always good with numbers and pattern recognition. So cards were easy for me. My brain inherently knew which ones were left in the deck without having to consciously count them. At first, my poker nights were small, just me and whoever I convinced to play. Most didn't stick around after repeatedly losing to me. I thought I'd be cooked because of it. My money making scheme over before it was even began. But then rumors start circulating that I was unbeatable, and soon every wannabe poker pro and math genius was clamoring to get in on the games, making me enough money to starve off financial panic. A class about entrepreneurship planted the seed that might be more stable money behind the table, running the games like a business. I opened it up to all levels of gamblers, from experienced players to rookies trying their luck for the first time. The two things happened at once. People at school found out that my best friend, Josh, was the son of a notorious serial killer, and the faculty caught wind of my games, so we moved to the city and starts over. I transferred schools, but Josh dropped out to become a professional hacker because he was better. He was a better programmer than any of his professors, and there was nothing left for them to teach him. I left the games behind, finished out my senior year, and went into corporate finance after graduation. But it only took me a year to realize I hated it. I hated dressing up in a suit to go to work with a bunch of shitheads who treated the Wolf of Wall Street like an instruction manual. I hated my entry level salary that barely covered my cost of living because I knew there was better and easier ways to make money. Also, it was boring as shit, including my boss was a fucking idiot, landing his role via nepotism, not merit, another reminder of why I've always hated the rich. Quitting let me get back to my old ways. I started another poker night, building it back up from scratch. This time around, I let myself think bigger. I wasn't just in it to make money. I had an objective: revenge, a target to pursue. Every game advanced to my agenda, but tonight in particular was a massive move forward in bringing me one step closer to him. Another cheer sounded from a nearby blackjack game. This time around it was an art dealer who'd won. To his left, a hinged fund manager looked on him with envy. To his right, a crime boss who congratulate, gladulate. See, this is why I said I was gonna stumble. I hate reading out loud. Um, gave him a congratulatory slap on the back. Pulled my gaze away and adjusted my mask. It was a black, accented with green jewels molded to look like a devil, complete with glaring eye holes and twisted horns. Maybe it was overkill, but seen as how I've been described as a devil incarnate more than once in my life, I figured the symbolism would serve as a good reminder in my clients, but it wouldn't be smart to fuck with me. I settled the mess back in place and headed toward a trio of poker tables near the ship's boiler. Seated at the center one was with his back to me was a 20-year-old man child who had no business being here. Blake McCormick, who was an heir to one of the largest fortunes in the city. I've seated with him the best poker players in attendance. If it was all going according to plan. He was being served by the bartenders. I also instructed his dealer to inform Blake that if he overextended and ran out of money, the house would happily lend him more. The dealer and I locked eyes, and the man sent me a subtle nod of confirmation. I grinned. The kid was already running up a debt. The night was still young. Who knew how much money he would owe me by the time it was over? 500,000? Maybe more? However the amount, Whatever the amount, it was a debt I fully expected to exploit because Blake had an older sister who would do absolutely anything for him to protect him, and she was going to be my way in, my means to an end. She was going to lead me straight to him, my father, who I moved to the city to find, the man I moved to the city to ruin. See you soon, Stella, I thought, smiling to myself, as another round of cheers rose from the crowd. So, what do you think of that first chapter? Do you think there's gonna be some mischievous things happening? Do you think there's gonna be blackmail? I actually know it's gonna be blackmail because I think like the third page it tells you the trigger warnings, and one of them is actually blackmail. There's a bunch of other stuff too, though, that I will not say. What do you think so far of that first chapter? Hello?
Oh, I thought it was pretty good.
Mm. Do you think it's gonna get
It
steamy
gets in my
quick,
taste.
or you think it's gonna be slow? Think it's gonna be like chapter
Slow.
15? Yeah. Anyways, that was
But
the
you gotta
first
make it.
chapter.
Yeah.
If you guys like this video, I will make another one in like 2 or 3 days, and hopefully, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. Cause, do you want to listen to the second chapter, or do you want to just watch on YouTube?
Listen.
Okay. So she will be here next time. So it'll be time where we can VC again. But anyways, that was the first chapter. I will see you guys next time, and take care, y'all.
Toodles.
Bye bye.